continue our preview of every World Cup team, today we're talking about a team that actually could win the whole thing. That team would be from Pot 1 in Group F, Belgium. Yeehaw. Unlike most of the teams we look at here, Belgium had no issue getting to the World Cup. They had 8 games to play in a group that could have been tough with Wales and Czechia. They drew both of those matches away, won every other match, and ended up on 20 points, very comfortably ahead of everybody with a goal difference that was 14 better than every other team in the group. But what should be noted about Belgium is that while they are ranked as one of the best teams in the world and made the semifinals at the last World Cup appearances are not as regular for them as for the other teams that are usually put in that category, particularly every other team that is in Pot 1, with the exception of Qatar being the host, obviously. They're basically the exception to everything. Belgium missed the World Cup in 2006 and 2010, which is why this collection of players is referred to as a golden generation for Belgium. Before that, they'd actually made the World Cup every time from 1982 to 2002, and then before that, they didn't have a whole lot of World Cup success or anything notable, really. They were at the first ever World Cup in 1930, though, so that's fun. On the return to the big stage in 2014, they beat my United States in the round of 16. This is often remembered as the Tim Howard game, which you can actually find on Belgium's Wikipedia page where it refers to, in which American goalkeeper Tim Howard made 15 saves. Wasn't enough, Belgium got to the quarterfinals and lost. And at the last World Cup, Belgium actually had its best ever World Cup finish. People look at this Belgian generation with De Bruyne, Lukaku, and Hazard and think they are running out of time to succeed. But if you ever have your best ever finish at a World Cup, that is already a good measure of success. I know it's not a trophy, but still this team has achieved a lot. They won a tough group. They beat England, Tunisia, and Panama to finish top of the group with 9 points. This is a running theme for Belgium. I mean, it was handy. They beat Panama and Tunisia by 3 goals apiece. Against Japan in the round of 16, though, it was anything but comfortable. Japan took a 2-goal lead in the second half, and with 21 minutes to go, Belgium was down 2 goals and going out of the World Cup. It scored 3 goals, including one with just seconds to play from Nasser Chadli on a counterattack for the ages that sent Belgium to the World Cup quarterfinals, knocking Japan out. It was a brilliant game that showed a lot of mental toughness for a team that is often mocked for not having it. The next dose of toughness happened in Kazan a couple of days later when Belgium was able to beat Brazil to go to the World Cup semifinal. That is a fabulous result. Anytime you can beat Brazil at a World Cup, that is something that you've got to grab and write down, especially considering Brazil's won more matches at the World Cup than Belgium's ever played at the World Cup, and it's not even close. Brazil has such a deep pool and so many good players, and it didn't matter. Belgium was able to beat him, took a 2-goal lead before half, and then held on. In the semifinals, Belgium lost to France 1-0. It was a goal from Samuel Umtiti, as long ago as that feels, and France, of course, went on to win the whole tournament, beating Croatia in the final. Belgium went to the 3rd place game, beat England, and finished with their best ever finish at a World Cup. Maybe you're like, it was 4 years ago. I need a more recent point of reference. I got you. In their continental competitions, Belgium has been equally impressive and consistent. How about the Euros, which happened last year, the European Championships? Belgium won every match in their group again. They beat Russia 3-0, they beat Denmark 2-1, and they beat Finland 2-0 on the final match day. Belgium popped up in the round of 16 and played Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal, the reigning European champions, granted from 5 years before instead of 4 because of the whole 2020 delay. Belgium beat them 1-0. Torgan Hazard, 42nd minute. Belgium on to the quarterfinal of the Euros, where they met an Italian team and lost. But of course, Italy went on to win the whole tournament. The last 2 major tournaments Belgium has played, they lost in the knockouts to the team that won the whole thing, and they didn't drop a single point until that happened. That is an impressive record, which should put everybody on notice when you look at what this team is going to be capable of going into the World Cup. Their last World Cup with at least this golden generation. Oh, other continental competitions, the Nations League. Belgium finished 2nd in their Nations League group, behind the Netherlands, but ahead of Poland and Wales. Again, upholding their expectation. They just really struggled with the Netherlands. They lost to them both times, but it's that Nations League. It's only like 60% serious. Hey, we'll be live streaming a watch along to every single World Cup match on the Twitch channel. Check it out. So who's the player to look out for on this team? Now, I try and make the player to look out for a player that could be a breakthrough, that maybe you haven't heard before or hasn't performed on this stage before. But I find that impossible to do with Belgium, because Belgium has one of the best players on the entire planet, Kevin De Bruyne, and he is the player to watch. He's arguably the best midfielder in the entire world. He is arguably the best passer in the entire world from that attacking midfield spot. He's versatile, obviously runs hard, has good good leadership credentials. He's got longevity in the team, 93 caps for Belgium, and he's in good form in the Premier League. He's got 3 goals, 9 assists, and 13 matches as of the time this is being recorded. That is a freaking ridiculous record. Now, I know he's passing to Erling Haaland, so those numbers get padded a little bit, but still, he can pass the ball like no one else. And if those passes are getting finished off, we can expect another deluge of goals from the Belgian national team. But obviously, that is not the concern with Belgium. The concern with Belgium is everything else outside of the front three, because you have Kevin De Bruyne, you have a Romelu Lukaku, who is a world-class center forward who, for whatever reason, hates the Premier League, but if he's not playing in the Premier League, he's amazing. I know Chelsea spent 100 million on him, but who doesn't just spend 100 million for no particular reason and then loan him back to the same club? Again, he's literally on Inter is playing Monopoly, or they're basically just like me playing Football Manager. They sold him to Chelsea for 100 million, then loaned him back a year later. He's still on the team. They made $100 million. Sorry, not the point. If he's playing not in the Premier League, Romelu Lukaku is a fabulous player. Eden Hazard's been lost in the woods. Remember him? He's still at Real Madrid. If he can get himself fit, which he is right now, he should be able to play at the World Cup again. And you know what kind of quality he can produce. He's just one of those players you're not sure who's going to show up. He's an X factor, but De Bruyne and Lukaku are consistent beasts for the Belgian team. How is this team lining up, though? They really love a 5-2-3 or a 3-4-3. This is how it looked in their final important World Cup qualifier, and the issue is immediately apparent. It's the defense. Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen are keys to this defense, and they are both like really old, like moved to the Belgian league to finish their career old. They're 33 and 35. The wingbacks, however, not terrible. Timmy Castagne is a good player, and Thomas Meunier is somebody that can play at any level and not look out of place. But when you run this formation, you just have that double pivot in the middle, just those two midfielders that have to go forward and have to go back. Yuri Tielemans has been a very regular selection in that middle spot. They've rotated the other one, but it has mainly been Axel Witsel in the run-up to the World Cup. Premier League players Amadou Onana or Leandro Dendoncker are also available, and you're going to need guys like that over the run of the World Cup. That gives you good depth and quality in the midfield and going forward, because going forward as well, they have explosive new players. Jeremy Doku, who plays for Stade Rennais, is an incredibly physical, direct player that can shoulder some playmaking load. Divock Origi, he is bound to score an important goal at some point. It's like in his DNA somewhere. My point is, when you're looking at this formation, I honestly don't know if it actually complements the team as well as they would have hoped. I feel like this team would be better suited to a 4-3-3, but I'm sitting at my desk. I'm not coaching the team. This is what Belgium has done forever, because they don't trust deeper lying fullbacks in a four-man back line, but they are shallow at center back. Fortunately for them, they have Thibaut Courtois, who is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's the regular starter at Real Madrid, so he can clean up a few of those mistakes, and as a result, Belgium is one of the favorites. And the reason off the top for me is quality and familiarity. Belgium has played the same way for a while. They've played with the same guys for a while. Multiple major tournaments. 2 Euros, 2 World Cups. It's been a lot of the same guys in the team playing with each other, trying to bring Belgium farther and farther. And as you've seen, Belgium has gotten farther and farther into the tournament each time. Now, the defense is obviously getting a little old. That is my only concern with this team, and the only reason I'm not putting them in the top category of favorites. But if you look at that tier with Germany and Spain, teams that are trying to figure it out but have a little more quality throughout their side, I think Belgium fits right onto that second tier for contenders in this World Cup, because they don't have any of those issues. They are prolific up front. That's not their problem. And they have a great understanding of not only who's going to be out there, but the style they are going to be playing. That is increasingly rare in the international game, where pieces are always popping in and popping out and you don't get to play together too much. Well, these guys get to play together all the time, or they have. It's the last dance. This is the last dance at the World Cup, particularly with the defense the way that it is for Belgium. They have to make it count. I'm picking Belgium to win the group. I would not be surprised if they won the group with all 9 points. Are they going to win the tournament? Probably not, but quarterfinals, semifinals, and maybe a run to the finals, depending on the draw, is absolutely in the cards for Belgium, and it would be a mistake to pretend that it's not. Their last 2 major tournaments, Belgium has lost to the team that ended up winning the whole thing. So if you can beat them, I have great news for you. And that great news is that we made this playlist so you can watch all of our World Cup preview videos, starting from Group A all the way through to the end. Eventually, we're currently starting Group F right now, but still, that's wonderful, bingeable amount of videos right there. Enjoy.